Hi, and welcome back to Painting with Tammy. I also have a class called Dream Big, so that's what I do, teach and paint all my classes here in Tucker, Georgia. So we're back, it's Wednesday, and we're here to finish up our Toucan. So we got a lot done last Wednesday. There's still some work that I need to do in the orange part here, but I'm very pleased so far with what we have accomplished in the hour. This may go a little bit over in time because I do want to have this one done so that I can show you part of what we're going to be doing next Wednesday for our new painting night. So we're just gonna, I guess, just jump right on in. Again, part of me does not like what's going on here, so I'm just going to start working a little bit on that. So I hope you guys have had a good week so far. It's been doing a lot of storming out here in Georgia. I don't mind the rain. I know a lot of people are not real pleased with it. Would rather have it hot and sunny, but in all honesty, I do like a good rain every now and then. So all I'm doing on his beak is I'm adding a little bit of a wash with burnt sienna to kind of darken up some of the area, not to remove too much of the orange, but I just want to tone it down, or to give it a little bit of shadow and some interest in it. I'm hoping once I get my 1,000 likes or shares, which please remember to do thumbs up and like me, share with me, subscribe. I can actually go even more live, or I could be talking with y'all while I'm painting and you can ask questions and everything. Alright, so I did notice I did not pull out any red, so let me see in my goodie bag of wet palettes. I never like to throw any paint away if I don't have to. All you got to do is put them in a plastic baggie with a wet sponge or paper towel, seal it up, and it will keep your paint nice and wet until you're ready to use it again, as long as that paper towel or sponge stays wet. So again, I'm just going in and adding some texture here and there. I'm not using a lot of water, but I'm trying not to go dry brush. So I'm trying to make sure that I keep my brush wet or damp. And again, I'm not looking to rush through my paintings. I think that's why sometimes I got bored with some others. I was just rushing. They weren't coming out the way I wanted them to. I wasn't happy with them. So that's why I have wrap up Thursdays, where I'm going back in and finishing up paintings that I've started and never finished. How many of y'all out there have that, where you've got something you've started and you just got burned out, or you got busy and just never went back to it? I have quite a few of those. I think, again, like I said, I just figured I'd sit down and bam, there it is, I've got it. And it doesn't always work that way. I know sometimes we lose our mojo, and it's like you can't feel the painting, you can't, it's like, why is this not coming together? And that's been happening a lot. But from things I've read and people I've talked to, sometimes you just have to push through it and make it happen, or just get back in the groove. So I started painting small flowers, which, guess what, I didn't finish them, but I was doing them up at my parents' house in Ohio. And I figured, well, when I get back, I'll pick them back up, and I haven't, but I do have them sitting in front of me. And I will get onto those and show you guys how I'm doing my flowers. So I will incorporate that probably on a Wednesday instead of a Thursday, being that some of them I haven't even started on yet, so that would be a newbie. So I'm just going in and continually working my toucan, making adjustments and adding things that are fresh to me after being away from it for a week. Just breaking it up a little bit. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and move on. I'm pretty happy with that so far. I don't know about y'all, but I always seem to end up wearing paint without even trying. Okay, so I know this whole section here is just mainly a lot of yellow. But what we're gonna do is, we're gonna do it in sections. We're not gonna just go in and just blob yellow down. It's so easy to do just to get it done. But again, these are feathers and there's a lot of shadowing going on that you don't realize. So I'm going in, and right now I'm just going to, with my yellow, draw out where it goes. So again, I'm also, if anybody's wondering, I'm painting flat one to videotape this until I get a better system set up. And basically that's it. I don't have a camera. Okay, so I went out and I've looked at everybody, different ways that they're putting their videos together, how they have their phone set up or their camera set up, and for the life of me, I'm just not grasping it. Okay, so the yellow in the beak goes down pretty far, so let's figure this out. The black comes down, and this comes up, and then this cuts right up next to the beak. So my chalk marks were more for just reference. So right now I'm just marking them out. So if anybody knows of a way or has a site they go to and got themselves set up, please let me know. And if you live close enough to come out here and help me set up, that would even be more greatly appreciated. Again, I'm just still working along my edge here. And hopefully you guys went out and got the toucan off of the Photos for Arts. Like again, this is Cindy Fry's photo. So that's the photographer who took this picture. All right, so I'm gonna go back into my beak and get this finished up, because all we did was lay color down. We never did much more with it. Ah, I see something too. Okay. So, I just saw something that I never noticed before. Alright, so this is good proof of showing too that no matter how long you've been painting, it is so easy to make mistakes or overlook something. So I noticed my Toucan, when I put the black in, or when I did all this, I went too far with my orange. So I need to pull some of it back. Now maybe y'all caught this on your end, but I did not catch it now. Until now I'm going, wait a minute, that's not looking correct here. So I'm just gonna knock it out a little bit. And I'm gonna add colors back into it. So all my handy dandy paints from last week, I did not think I'd be using them. That's why it's good to have the baggie with your colors in it. You can go right back in and use them again without pulling out what paint or like what colors did I use. All right, so we're gonna go in and start fixing this portion up. And I might just gonna lay some basic colors down and then come back in when it's dry and touch it up here and there. So this is where, okay, yeah, I messed up. It's so easy to get frustrated. Either when you find that happens, walk away and come back again. What did Bob Ross say? There's no mistakes in art, only happy accidents. I could have just left that and no one would have known if they never saw the photo, but I noticed it, so we're gonna go in and fix it. But in ways, I'm glad this happened because then you could see that it's an easy fix. You just go in, kind of knock out the area that needed fixing, and then I'm just going in and getting it prepped for a little bit later. I'll come back in and touch it up a little bit. That's what I love about acrylics, is easy fix. I had one of my art classes Friday, and one of the young ladies' project it didn't really get messed up, but it went in a direction she didn't want it to go in. And I kept telling her we'll have surgery later on it and we'll fix it. And by the time she was ready to go home, everything was taken care of. The crisis was over. And I think she ended up leaving very happy. Though for beginners, you think that's it. There's no way of fixing this. It's done. I have to throw it away or start all over. That's why I have a few paintings that I need to finish up, because I got frustrated and I'm like, I am not dealing with this. I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I wanted to throw it away, but I just said, nope, we'll leave it for another day. And I'm sure as I go through paintings, I will be finding more and more that I stopped on, and I'll have to, I want to fix them, but it'll be interesting to see how far back did I do this. Did I say, nope, that's it, and just never went back to it. So again, this will be and this is for Wrap Up Thursday on those that I'm talking about that I will be going in and fixing. So hopefully you'll come out and join me on that. So Wrap Up Thursday, again, like I said, it's on pieces that I never finished. And the nice thing about it while I'm doing it is the one I'm working on is a sunflower. And I have like 3 or 4 more I have to do on it to finish the whole painting up. So though you've not seen the beginning on how I got from point A to point B, if you're interested in the sunflower and how to paint it, I will be walking through and painting a sunflower, probably after this one 3 or 4 more. So if you missed the first one and didn't see it, you'll see it on one of my other Thursday wrap-up, or wrap-up Thursdays. You'll eventually find one of them that I'm working on a sunflower. I don't claim that my way of doing is correct. It's just how I do my sunflowers, or the mood that I'm in. Because the first one I did a few months back, I can already see this new one that I'm painting is not going to look anything like the other one, which is fine. I think it gives the sunflowers its own personality. And if I want photorealism, I will paint them to where they all look alike. But I wonder if sunflowers all do look alike. If there's a little bit of difference in them. I've seen sunflower fields. How many of y'all have seen a sunflower field? It is gorgeous. But I've never went out and really looked close and see if they all have the same head on them, or if they're slightly different. So again, I'm just going in, working some highlights in. And some of this, I put a lot of paint on my palette, but I'm really not working with a lot of paint. I'm just putting a very little bit on my tip. And moving it around and working with it. Again, find your own style. And there might be times where you feel like it's not coming together. Step back. When you're sitting up on a top like this, it's not going to look the same when you step back and look at it. Because we're up close and personal with it, that stepping back, you'll see a different perspective of it. Or if you're still not sure about how something looks, turn it upside down. Or go stand in front of a mirror and look at it in front of a mirror. It will change completely. And then that's where you'll see your mistakes, and things will jump out at you. Now, surprisingly, I had this painting, because of the way I have to paint, for y'all to see this, I'm painting sideways. I am not painting straight up and down. To you, it might look like I am, but I'm actually painting sideways. So I had it facing the other way last week. And I found when I had to do editing and everything, it was upside down. And it doesn't take long to reverse it, but I thought, well, let's try putting it on the table this way, and maybe it will be right side up when I go to do my editing. That's when I noticed this section, like something's not right here, that I didn't see last week. But by turning my painting, I saw it this week. All right, now I'm just working in small sections. And again, there's people that can probably just whiz through this, but that's not my objective. I would like to have it done tonight, so I know once I get it to a certain sections, I might glob more paint on. Well, not glob, but work in a much larger area. This being around the beak, I want to make sure I get the colors. So there's some green, a little bit of green, a little bit of red going on. Well, actually, I'm using burnt sienna for my red. And I'm using 3 different yellows. And right now, I'm just trying to block in the different colors. So when you go and look at something again, don't look at, okay, look at the whole picture. That's what first draws you in. But when you're thinking of how am I going to paint this, again, look at the sections. Look at the shapes. That's how, at least that's how I paint. I paint the shapes. I don't paint the, like the whole thing. I'm not painting this whole thing in the sense of putting that all yellow. I'm looking at each shape of my bird. So I'm going to go ahead and remove this. And the other reason is because that placement wasn't correct. So I'm removing my distraction. So I can go in and I'm going to do some drawing here with my paint to see exactly where his eye goes. So this is just me roughing it in. And again, like I said, I don't really paint like everybody else. Everybody end up developing their own technique. I like to try and keep some things pretty simple. So in case somebody else does want to draw it, they can follow along. That was my only thing when I was in high school. And I took art classes. I took art classes almost all school year. None of the teachers took the time out to show you how to draw it. I'm not saying that not all teachers, but my teachers didn't sit down and break it down or say, okay, this is what you do, this is what you look for. I learned a lot of my work lately from teaching myself, not myself, but teaching others as a teacher. I had to step back when I started teaching drawing of how am I going to teach them this? What's the objective behind it to make them understand it? And that's where I slowly started breaking things down a little bit, that it helped me in my art. So those of you who want to improve your art, I'm telling you, stop and teach someone. Teach a young kid, a family member, and sit down and work with them. And you will find after a couple months or so, your art in itself starts to change, and you are able to sketch things a little bit quicker. Things come to your mind a little bit easier. I didn't realize how much it improved my work until I sat down and was doing something for a friend, and it was like, oh, here, da-da-da, and I was like, oh my gosh. I didn't tell them that, but it did help. It was amazing how well it helped my drawing, my just perspective, that's it. I do apologize if I do not say the right words, or if I talk sometimes a little too fast and my words don't come out. I know what I'm saying, but that doesn't mean you guys know what I'm saying. You're probably like, what in the world is she talking about? All right, so I'm still kind of just drawing. I'm putting my paint indications here and there. So I'm making sure I go in. This also is knocking out a lot of the black background too. So when I go in, I will, when I put the paint on top of it, I'll have a lighter texture than the black. painting on black can be a challenge, because instead of it being white, you have the black. Now, there's some paintings where you can use the black canvas as part of your knockout, you know, where you don't have to put as much black because you have it in the back. So again, I'm just kind of roughing out where everything goes. So it's going to look kind of childish at the moment. Still making this eye's gotten too small. I made it too circular, and it's really not all that circular. To measure exactly where I'm seeing it. All right. So again, you're seeing all my, not necessarily my mistakes, but you're seeing how it takes some time to get some of these pieces exactly right. And I've been away from, not necessarily, I've been painting, but I've been painting for paint classes. Not necessarily like paint and sit, but a bunch of us ladies get together. So the paintings are way different. They're very simple, and I didn't realize how hard it is to paint a simple painting without texture and everything. So the one thing also to be aware of is always constantly check your reference. Make sure that you're in the right place with it. Alright, I'm going to leave that eye for a little bit alone just because it's starting to get on my nerves and I'm not seeing it. So I'm going to go back down. And we're just going to start working on some feathers. So I have a little bit more paint on my brush. I'm using some bright yellow right now, and then I will tone it down in different areas with a little bit of yellow ochre for some shadow. This is really bothering me, y'all. So what I'm doing when I do from here to here is I'm kind of measuring it and using, I'm looking at the piece and I'm kind of figuring out where I want it to go. So you're truly getting a painting that has mistakes in it that you don't see too often by other artists. I don't think. It seems like when I watch other artists do theirs, it's like perfect perfection. Right, I'm going to add blue in because I want my black to be darker. Adding the blue to it makes your black look not so flat. So I'm just going to use that to do some of my drawing. The placement of this eye. I usually do birds in colored pencil. This time I thought I'd try one in acrylic. I am going to try and mix it up where not everything is going to be painting. But we're going to play it by ear too. I have a few that are coming up that I've been dying to do, and of course it's all paint. So right now I'm just going to start putting down some color, and then I'm going to come back into it with some washes. So I'm constantly looking at the reference and making sure I'm following his feathers with the direction that they're going. And I probably could use a larger brush, but right now, since I'm trying to get this eye sorted out, I don't want to go big with a larger brush. Now, if you're comfortable with this section, go for it. But this placement of this eye is really starting to bother me. It's almost like I'm cutting it off, or I'm doing something not right. Again, you're probably like, okay, this is new. We have an artist who is struggling with her art piece. But again, this is why I wanted to come out and just start painting, so I can get back in to my art. I've been away for a while, and I've got to train my eye to start seeing things a little bit better. But again, too, if I would have drawn this out a little bit better, took more time, I probably would have caught a few things. So I'm having to catch it right here at the beginning stage. So I'm just going to keep working it and working it. So this way you'll see that, yeah, we do make mistakes, but we just keep painting over top of it until we get it correct. So if you're painting this, I hope you took the extra step where I didn't and really made sure my drawing was correct. But here's the thing, I was so excited to get started, and I wanted to start it on time, but then I learned afterwards that I can't go completely live yet until after I get X amount of likes or subscribes. So I could start this at any time, but I wanted to start on knowing that each time I'm going to be starting at this time every time on Wednesday. Okay, now I'm rambling. On Wednesday. And I meant to silence my phone again. So again, we'll just make the corrections as I see them as I go along. So I guess sometimes there's a plus when it's not 100% accurate, or you don't do it right in the beginning. This just shows you my prep work. I did not do my prep work correctly. Let me... All right, so that part looks... And this is where, again, I say we're not toucans, unless there's an actual toucan out there painting himself. And if there is, please hit me up. Okay. Just being silly. I've been struggling all day. I don't know about the rest of y'all. How many of y'all get hit with pollen this year? The weather has been so crazy that the pollen just out of nowhere, I started losing my voice. unable to sleep because I can't breathe. All right, just a little too much water. Again, I'm just knocking in color. I'm trying to avoid that eye right now, so I'm gonna go work somewhere else. And what may end up happening is I'm gonna have to flip the board back the other way so I can work on the eye. I think I'm not seeing it from this angle. Again, like I said, I'm working sideways in order for this to be recorded easier. So I'm following the shape of the feathers. So my feathers are all going downward. So that's what I'm doing here, is following that shape. And right now it's not going to look like much because I'm not laying down a lot of paint. Again, since I realized my drawing was off a little bit, I'm trying to make sure everything else is where it needs to be. Promise the next painting I'll have it a little bit better sorted out. Now the next one I can't wait to do, and it will be an acrylic, but it's going to be on top of a pour painting that I did. I did one already, and I want to do two more because I want to make it a set, and I will show you what the next paintings coming up will be when we are done here at the end, just so you'll know what to look for next Wednesday. Majority of my paintings will be of animals, and slowly I will be working on more and more endangered species. I have a special heart for them in the sense of how we're losing so many of them, and people don't, I'm not saying they don't care, maybe they are not, you know, it's not in their face saying hey, but then I also know there's a lot out there that probably really don't care, and that's sad because if they end up having children and they want to know, those kids want to know what happened to all the animals, they're not going to know, the parents, because they weren't educated or they just didn't care. But we are losing so many of them. And it's not just the animals too. There's a lot of, a lot of vegetation, from weeds to flowers to insects. Okay, so the only thing you got to do too and watch is, because the paint is wet, you always want to go in one direction. If I keep going back and forth, it's going to start picking up paint. So that area, once you get there, then you need to move to the next one so you're not picking up all the paint, because you're just making it harder for yourself. And I'm barely touching it. I hold my paintbrush pretty far to the back, so I can get the paint to lay down a little bit easier, because I'm just kind of flicking across. It's like I'm painting with a feather, which I did see someone out there doing, which I thought was really cool, and in ways I want to try it. So it might be something on the to-do list in the near future. So again, I'm following my photo reference and seeing where there's color going that's slightly different. I mean, this part is yellow, but with the shadows, there's more. Okay, let's try this again, y'all. This is yellow, but the shadows are not pure yellow. There's a little bit of orange going on, some red. So right now I'm just going to be knocking out my colors. And I may have to leave this for a little bit because you can see I'm starting to pick paint up. So I'm going to leave that for a little bit and go on to another section. Let that set for some time so the paint can cure to my canvas. So again, for those out there who find, oh, I don't like this and it's not what they're looking for, that's okay. There's so many other artists out there. I just hope that maybe there's something I'm doing that someone else is not doing, or I made it a little bit simpler for you to understand. But then also I'm doing a lot of this for me to get me back out there to start doing what I like. How many of you walked away from something that you've enjoyed because you let life get in the way, or you just get busy? Get some yellow ochre. And it's so easy to get caught up in the world that sometimes you don't get to use, you don't get to do what you enjoy, your hobby. I know quite a few friends who, they don't have time. Like me, they get up in the morning, they work 10 to 12-hour days, and when they go home, they're too exhausted to do anything, especially what they enjoy. Wanting to make this as my career, I don't have a life anymore. I gave it up. That's okay. If the result at the end is better paintings for me and teaching y'all what I've learned, then I've done really good. Again, I'm just following the shape of the feathers. And eventually, I'm going to have to go back to this eye. I know I am. So, it's all good. We'll get it. We're going to get it, y'all. We'll make it happen. So when you do in sections of your painting, and you're just taking it one section at a time, seeing the shape that's there, surprisingly, it does all come together. I surprise myself sometimes. Have you ever stepped back and go, oh my gosh, did I do that? I've done that a few times. It's like, wow, I can't believe I just did that. See, right in there, I'm picking the paint up, so it's too soon for me to do anything over there, but I am gonna try and tap some paint in there so it can start curing. I was hoping to have this finished in an hour, but that eye kind of I stumbled when it came to that eye. But again, I'm kind of glad that, you know, you're seeing that we all not make mistakes, but we all need to correct something in art. Just don't give up. So this will probably be a 3-parter. I was hoping it wouldn't be, but it looks like it will be. I think too, because I'm working on a black canvas, it's more of a challenge. Now, when you took this on or started watching, you don't have to, or you didn't have to use a black canvas. Only reason I'm on black canvas is one of my art classes, we had an extra one left over. Someone, I think, didn't show up, or I just made one too many. And instead of it sitting there going to waste, well, it wouldn't be going to waste, but instead of it just sitting there, I took the challenge on, let's make something fun and bright, which was the toucan. Now I'm rethinking it. I'm kidding. There's some sections in paintings that stump you and you're not feeling it. And I know sometimes they say walk away, shake it off. If you have to, come back to it the next day, which I've done, and I guess that's why I have so many paintings, because I walked away, shook it off, but I never came back. And now I have so many unfinished paintings, but that's going to change. So I'm going to be wanting to give this section texture, so I will be going thicker with my paint to almost give it an oil effect. But I want these feathers to kind of pop a little bit. In order to do that, even though we're working on acrylic, you just kind of load your brush up a little bit more. And you don't over blend it. You kind of lay the paint down. And then just keep moving. And just keep building it that way. Because if you over blend it, then you're going to get rid of that layer look. So I just kind of go in, I lay some paint, and again, I'm treating my brush like it's a feather. I'm going in and putting the paint down, and then I move to another section. So if I want to blend it, I would do it like I was doing out here. I would just keep going in over and over and over again. So I'm not doing that. I'm going to lay it down and then leave that part alone, so I'm working down below it. It's easier to see with the darker color. So I just want to build up. And there's different ways you can, you could do it. You may not like the thicker look. You may like the blend look. So it's your painting. Do what you like. That's what matters. The end result, if you are happy with the end result, that's the bonus right there. So I'm just going in and I'm seeing different colors here and there, which is creating the shadows. So I'm trying to break those up. So I will probably make this into a 3-parter. And hopefully that doesn't happen too often, but again, I am not rushing these paintings. Because there's no need to. I'm not going anywhere, so it's just my way of closing out my day. And again, too, next week, once this really dries, I'll be able to go back in and add even more depth and color. There'll be some paintings, I don't know about the rest of y'all, that may take a couple hours and I'm done, and it will be like really complicated, but I was in the right mood, the right place, everything was flowing, the paint, it just was amazing. And then I didn't want to stop because I felt that if I walked away from it, I'm not going to have that feel is going to be gone. I'm trying to put some darker shadows in here, but I don't want pure black. I was trying to mix it in with my yellow ochre, start creating some shadows. And like I tell my students, I could see that as they're working on it, it's not coming together. They're seeing too much of the beginning stage where there's still some issues, there's still things that, you know, you still have to paint and pull together. So right now I'm kind of feeling like one of my students going, I don't know about this. But we just keep moving through. And you got to remember too, it's not going to be 100% exactly unless you're doing realism. I'm not going to have this painting up next to my original, so no one's going to see all my mistakes or a line that I missed or something. Oop, venturing close to that eye. So you just keep working it until it feels right. But I am excited about some of the paintings that are coming up that I'm looking forward to do. And eventually, once I can get a rhythm going, I'll start creating pieces not online. I'll join Patreon and we can do some private classes. But right now I need just to share with you all some of what I'm doing. Again, this is just a building process. I'm just going going in and just keep adding color. Looking at my reference continuously. Now the downside is the teacher part inside of me. I can't stop and say, okay, here, let me help you out with that, or you need to start looking at this part. So the only thing I can suggest, since I can't see what y'all are doing, if you are working on your Toucan or want to work on your Toucan on your own time, different pose, just keep working at it. Don't rush. It's not going anywhere. You can just keep coming back to it. Work on it for about an hour. If you have to take the next day off to give yourself a small break, go for it. But just keep working at it. Slowly it'll come together. I feel like once you could start feeling it, the paint, the placement, the Toucan. I usually don't talk this much when I'm painting because I focus so much. I think that's why I missed on a couple of things. Yeah, this will be a 3-parter. Only thing is I don't want to rush in getting the bird down, just so I can start another painting next week. Because then later on it'll be put on Friday or Thursdays, wrap it up because I want to go back into it, and then once I do that, it'll be called Touch Up Thursday. Because I'll be going back in and touching up all my paintings. Going, all right, y'all, I don't like this, so we're going to go back in and we are going to touch up some old work. And that's the thing too. I don't know if a painting is ever truly done. You can always go back in and add more to it, or change it, or fix it, or because I think as you grow as an artist, you're gonna look back at your other pieces and going, oh, if I do this, if I do that, and there's nothing wrong if you want to go back in and fix those. Sometimes though, it probably isn't good to do that because you can always go back in or if you go back in, sorry about that, and fix them later on in life, when you look back, you're not going to really see how you've grown if you went and fixed them all the time. So I have a few paintings that it's like, oh, I want to touch it, I want to do that. But I know that at that stage in my life, that's where I was at, and this is where I'm at now. This is where so again, it's personal preference, but oops. This side has a lot of shadow in it, but I still want to put the brightness in, so I might go back in with a wash. The Bings. Okay, I tried to do the Bings and I end up stopping the video, so oh, this has been a fun night, everyone. Made more work for myself. So I think we're at a good stopping point on, I think it's been about an hour. So if y'all want to keep continuing on your toucans, you can continue on them, get a little bit further than where I'm at. I will come back in next Wednesday and continue wrapping up on our toucan. So I want to thank you for attending, and we'll talk soon and see you next Wednesday. Thanks for coming, guys. Take care now.